I found out my wife and neighbor's secret. Hi there, welcome to Reddit Goat channel. Today we are going to have another unbelievable cheating story. But before we get started, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you won't miss any of our daily cheating stories. I found out last week that my wife of 5 years and mother of my 4-year-old son has been cheating on me for the last 3 months with my married neighbor. Whilst trying to fix her phone to work on the cruise that we were on, it happened upon several text messages to and from the guy, including a picture of his dick sent on February 14th. When I confronted her about it, she attempted to lie and say it was just a flirting thing and that she admits to having an emotional affair but that nothing had happened. Her indignant response was that she was always with the kids, so how could I actually do anything? Against my better judgment, I actually started to slightly believe her, but I pressed on and told her that I would pull the records from Verizon and wanted to know what I would find. She then admitted that she was with him, but that it was only once. I immediately suspend the service on her cell phone so that she can't contact the guy. Needless to say, I was a wreck, and nothing changes a pleasure cruise ship to a floating prison than finding out this news. I went from angry, to sad, to oddly guilty, and back to angry within minutes of each other. I had 3 days left on the cruise and there was no major airline service at any of our ports of call, so I was stuck with her. For some reason I needed to know every single detail, including positions, times, location, etc. etc. I now know that this is apparently normal, but at the time I was questioning why I would put myself through this level of detail. After my continuous barrage of questioning, she finally admitted to it happening 3 times, not just the one, but that all were with protection and always at a hotel. All the while, she is already begging for a second chance for the sake of the family. The family in this instance are my 4-year-old son, 2 older stepkids, and her and I. Fast forward to getting home, I get home and immediately confront the guy. I ask the same questions, admittedly screaming them in the middle of my driveway with a tire iron in hand, and his story mostly matches hers. Finally, could I have gotten to the truth? I tell him that he has to tell his wife and that my wife would be doing the same if he didn't do it. He tells his wife, but she thinks he's joking and comes over to my house to deliver the mail she was collecting for us. As she walks in the door, I tell her that my wife has something to talk to her about, while I am still seething from talking with the guy. My wife tells her and she goes home crying her eyes out. It's also worth mentioning that my wife was acting as her confidant and friend and advising her what a piece of shit her husband was. Apparently, the husband was having multiple affairs, including the one with my wife. The next day, the scorned wife and I briefly compare notes since she wants to know every detail, as well. Turns out a few inconsistencies, but the most major was that he admitted to not using protection and coming inside of her because she said that she couldn't get pregnant. My wife most certainly can get pregnant, as evidenced by my 4-year-old son and 2 miscarriages. Furthermore, I was sniped 2 years ago to prevent any more. Once confronted with this detail, my wife denies it and was actually pissed that I believed him over her. I was actually considering reconciliation up to the point of hearing the last bit, but it's like a switch went off and told me that this was taking a twist towards Crazyville. She is still begging and asking for a second chance for the sake of the family, but I am holding my ground but feel guilty for doing so. Am I wrong for wanting to pull the pin on this marriage and not work it out? There are 3 kids involved that it will likely take an emotional toll on. However, I can't see myself ever trusting her again, and a loveless marriage will only lead to a more unhappy environment than a broken home. She will likely get custody due to me traveling frequently, which I am somewhat okay with. My son adores his mother and, not for all this other insanity, was an otherwise happy marriage. I filed and hope for an amicable agreement that we can push through uncontested. I am done and need to focus on healing and being the best dad I can be to my own son. I also found out about the hotel and that she signed for all the rooms. He paid her in cash for the room, but whatever. She denies that too. Just had another discussion with her. She is open to an amicable divorce and does not want to contest as long as she keeps joint custody. Still keeping a lawyer on standby in case she decides otherwise. In her words, I've been to divorce court before. I know I'm fucked, so let's do this the easy way. I did not suspend the service to punish her. Given the lies up to that point, I wanted to prevent the 2 from getting their stories straight until I confronted him directly. Furthermore, I wanted my hands on that phone since it was the only evidence I had at that point. Immediately upon our return, I gave her another phone with a new number. She also had full use of my phone and the ship's phone during this time. All I can say is that my actions should not be a reflection of how our relationship was up to that point. The very foundation of our relationship was complete trust. I had never even given her phone a second glance to that point, and the only reason I was even looking at it was that it wasn't working. We knew each other's passwords to everything and often shared email, Facebook, IM accounts, everything. If a few people still think I'm some kind of control freak, then I guess I'll live with that label. For all those suggesting it, I am not currently interested in starting an open marriage or swinger lifestyle. Thanks for the suggestions though, I am sure that kind of thing works for some people, but I'm not that guy. Here are some of the best comments from our community. Bitterness towards you is not an excuse for her to break the trust of a bond like marriage. If she had some resentment towards you, she could have talked to you about it, the reason why, and there would have been plenty of available actions to take, marriage counseling, etc. Instead, she sought sexual pleasure and is a party to the destruction of two marriages. You should not feel guilty for wanting to get a divorce. I would say that your feeling is natural. You have to ask yourself, what is best for my children? If living in a home of such animosity, that appears to be present now from your story, is best, then it is logical to stay together. However, if you believe that such an environment is not best for your children, then you must seek a way out, divorce. If there's one thing I want to say most to you though, it is that no matter how much hatred or animosity or anger you have towards your wife, remember that there is one thing you can control: the love you show your children. It's okay to be angry at your wife, but try to channel as much energy as possible into being a great father no matter how your marriage proceeds. No kidding. If jealousy, not to mention unjustified jealousy, is apparently a good reason for her to cheat on you, then I think what she did is a good reason to ditch her. Think of it this way. You live once, then you die. If you want to potentially wring your one life of damn near all happiness and fullness, then tell yourself you'll get over it and work it out. Otherwise, if you're really unsure about it, make an effort, try to love her again, try to trust her again, and if that fails, you always have leaving her to fall back on. Do not feel guilty, because her cheating on you, and then begging you to stay is a far worse burden to place on anyone than cutting off a relationship completely. Think of her as a finger. Now she's been cut off 3/4 of the way, and either she's gonna be fixable, which will take some painful stitches as you have no anesthetic, or you can cut it off, but damn it, do not let it dangle and get in your way for the rest of your life. That would be painful. Your kids will always love you if you are a decent dad, and you can't be decent to them while eating shit and playing doormat to someone who doesn't respect you in the least. Think about it. If she really only needed an affair, she could have managed that discreetly, or spoken with you about her sexual needs like a grown-up. Instead, she went for the neighbor. She's a drama queen who doesn't mind losing you. She will never respect you if you stay in the marriage. Her remorse is self-serving, she's worried about life as a single mom. It's done. Move on. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories.